now in Wahu Maganak at Tuskemagan. It's working. Kaki now in Wahu Maganak. All my relations. It's not an accident that I'm here this evening, I don't think, although it's somewhat of an accident. Earlier this afternoon, I was standing on the grass by the fire, and I met someone there who taught me in grade 4 in Fisher River. So the Mennonites have been in my life since I was a little child. So it's not an accident that I'm here. People of peace and commitment have emerged from the Mennonite community and have come into our lives. Whoa, thank you. So when I was invited to this assembly, I did have some excitement because I do have some reflections about things I have learned and observed as I've traveled through life. I come here with excitement with the opportunity to meet diverse peoples because I know the planning committee for this event have extended invitations to many nations. And in addition to inviting people from Mennonite community, there are also ecumenical visitors. And that feels good in my heart because I too, like Thelma Mead, went to a Presbyterian residential school. I also attended other denominational churches. And I've always wondered, why don't we get together now and then? Kakinau and Waku Maganak, the teachings of our peoples is that we are related. The teachings are there for us. So in addition to First Nations peoples at this gathering, I'm excited about meeting people from the Choctaw Nation, the Cheyenne Nation, the Lakota Nation, the Navajo peoples, the Creek nations, because I think by getting together, we will find stories that connect, and we will become family relatives. And we will talk on the earth in a good way. In addition to what we've been welcomed to as we gather here, in Cree we say Manitoba. This place, Manitoba? Manitoba. This is the Creator's resting place in the language of our people. So it has a name. So if the Creator rests here, certainly there's a place for all of us. Mama, we, together. In addition to being Treaty 1 territory, this is also the homeland of the Métis Nation, who have risen in this land and have become a people distinct with gifts for this society and this time. So I'm very honored to be here. You will notice the planning committee were also very wise, and they didn't put any time on the agenda, right? They know the Cree, right? They gave me tobacco, they gave me the microphone, so settle in, settle in. The other thing I would tell you, I'm inviting anyone over 70 who at any point in the evening has something to say it. The rest of you young folk, just sit and listen for a minute. Right? This is for us old folk, right? 8 years ago, Chief Averell Lookinghorse of the Dakota Nation spoke of his vision to unite the global community spiritually. His vision was that each nation would carry its own ways of belief in the Creator. And he suggests that we recognize the importance of our sacred sites here on Turtle Island. For him, as a Lakota, He says that the Black Hills in South Dakota are the heart of everything that is. The heart of everything that is. And then Chief Looking Horse comments on the illness of the earth, our mother, and how this threatens the survival of future generations. This, he says, is because humankind has misused its power and misunderstood the balance of life. When I heard there was going to be a fire today, and there's one burning behind us, my first thought was to bring strawberries. When I was visiting Six Nations a few years ago, I learned of a ceremony among the peoples, the nations of that part of Canada. Every spring into June, when the children are out playing, the elders tell them, when you smell strawberries, go and look and see if you can find them. Then go and get the elders and tell them, and together you will go and pick the strawberries, the first fruit, and bring the people together when you have picked some, and there'll be a strawberry feast. And the strawberry feast will include a speech, a teaching, which will say, we have strawberries. And so we will thank the Creator for this first fruit of the earth. And we will celebrate, we will sing, and we will dance. And we give thanks because the Creator still cares for the earth and cares for us. And then the elder will say, this year, you notice the berries were smaller and harder to find because the earth is suffering. One day you may go out and not find any berries. But look for the plant. Find a strawberry plant and pull some leaves from the plant and bring them to the lodge. Boil some water, drop the leaves into the water, and you will smell strawberries. Then you will sing and dance and give thanks that the Creator still cares for the creation and cares for us. So we are in desperate times. Many signs around us indicate we are not caring for the earth, our mother. We're not caring for each other. But there are still strawberries. Otemina. Otemina. We call them heartberries. Otemina. They're medicine. They're healing. And they're still here. I couldn't come tonight without bringing a word from Scripture. One of my favorite passages. I'm going to impose it upon you because I think it fits what we're doing here this week. I'm reading from Matthew chapter 12, beginning at verse 38. This paragraph is called A Sign of Jonah. Then some of the scribes and Pharisees said to him, Teacher, we wish to see a sign from you. But he answered them, An evil and adulterous generation asks for a sign. But no sign will be given to it, except the sign of the prophet Jonah. For just as Jonah was 3 days and 3 nights in the belly of the sea monster, so for 3 days and 3 nights the Son of Man will be in the heart of the earth. The people of Nineveh will rise up at the judgment of this generation and condemn it, because they repented at the proclamation of Jonah and see something greater than Jonah is here. The Queen of the South will rise up at the judgment with this generation and condemn it, because she came from the ends of the earth to listen to the wisdom of Solomon and see something greater than Solomon is here. Whenever diverse peoples come together because of the instigation and motivation of the love and grace of God, something greater than Jonah and something greater than Solomon is here. The potential of human community respecting and loving each other, being together in conversation over food, on the land, being with creation. Something greater than we have ever known potentially could happen, even in this little week that we have set apart for the native gathering. So I am mindful this night of the one who we call the Christ, the Son of Man, spent 3 days and 3 nights in the heart of the earth. We are people of the earth, and I believe if our hearts are in a good place, we will be wiser than Solomon and as disappointed as Jonah when people listen to us and accept truth. That's the amazing thing about diversity. Now, as First Nations people, as people of various nations from around Turtle Island, we have teachings and ceremonies and legends and dreams. We have diverse spiritual rootedness in sacred sites. Our languages and our culture remind us that we are all related to each other and to the creation. Many of us have been given the teachings that we have read tonight, lessons about how we are to be together on the earth. Bimat tisiwin, kawi miskamach. We wish to find fullness of life. Not just life for the sake of living, not following the old route, the old ruts, but encountering each other and the life on the earth in the good ways. Bimat tisiwin, the good life. When our elders meet in council to share wisdom and talk about problems, they often stop in the middle of their conversation and someone tells a joke and they laugh. Because as humans, we are so silly. We think it's going to be easy, this journey into right relationship. But the old ones know that to be whole, to be real people, we also can laugh at ourselves and at each other. I don't know if you've ever visited a Cree community, but if you do and become a part of the community, you will be laughed at. It's humanizing. It's about humility and it's about respect. So tonight I'm going to encourage you to risk laughter, to risk learning other truths. Because the other thing my experience of the church has been is that we limit the truth into safe little packages that we can hold under our arm and say we've got it all. The elders would tell us that that is not about the living word. That is not about the journey of life in which we all share and give to one another truths, vitality, possibility, and even silly dreams. So I'm a person, as I get older, I think more and more about Puamwina, Without a dream, the people die. And the old women in my village knew what it was to dream. And they talked to each other about the dream. And the thing that always amazed me when they shared their dreams was the other people would listen to them carefully, and then they would say, Mama Scats. I see a Cree person over here. Mama Scats means, isn't that amazing? You don't have to interpret it or take it over. Just accept it. Just receive it. My father hunted, trapped, and fished to keep us alive on the land. The earth was our mother, and our mother in our family prepared food from the land and kept us healthy with natural medicines and loving nurturing. The women of our village managed the economy, which was primarily food and shelter and medicine. The women managed that because mothers know how to care for community. So it's not surprising to me when I think about my involvement with the church that I was attracted to the Son of Man, who spent 3 days in the heart of the earth. It's not surprising to me when we heard stories about dreams related to his birth and the presence of spirits and angels at his coming, that we understood. It's not surprising to me that spirit helpers are still present in community and in the life of our time on the earth. We understood why when Moses took off his shoes by the burning bush. When the elders read that in Cree and Norway House, they knew why he took his shoes off. He was deeply respectful of the presence of Creator God. So the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. And the intention of the Creator, the intention of the Christ, is that we would share all that is with one another. We don't own the earth, but we are called to protect it. We are called to protect it, and I thank you, Steve, for your book about the earth, because it's one of the statements about how our role is to protect the earth. So I want to end by just saying that I came tonight to say to you what I've already said. There's something greater than Jonah here. There is something greater than Solomon in this place, on this land, Manitoba. But I couldn't end without encouraging you to begin telling stories about what you've experienced in your life, and to share that truth openly. I'm going to tell you a couple of stories. If you wish to fall asleep now, that's good. It's been a long day, a beautiful day. I remember hearing of a trapper in Bimbonippi, a Cree community that was called Oxford House in northern Manitoba. In Bimbonippi, there was a trapper, and he was sort of head of the clan. And each winter, they went out to the land to trap. One year when he came back from trapping, he had had a very good bundle of furs, some very nice furs. He came to the trading post, to the bay, Company Ogimau, they call him, the Hudson Bay boss who bought the furs. And the person who bought the furs said, "You have made very good money. And now I have something I can sell you. I have some very good steel traps." So the trapper said he would take some traps. So the manager sold him a bunch of traps, and the following autumn he went off to his trap line again with his traps. When he came back the following spring, his fur pile was even higher. He took them and sold them. The next thing he did is he went out in his canoe to the middle of Oxford Lake, and he had a bag with half the traps. He took them over the edge of the canoe and he dropped them into the lake. He offered some tobacco, and he explained to the Creator he had all he needed. He didn't need to kill all the animals on his trapline. He only needed to take what was necessary for life. I believe that First Peoples all over Turtle Island understand. You only take what you need, and of what you have, you must share. You take what you need, and of what you have, you must share. I watched my mother and father live by that teaching. A final bedtime story. My friend Murdo in Island Lake told me about going with his friends to fish at the end of the lake in their community. As they were traveling in their boat, the water came up. Sounds a little bit like a biblical story, doesn't it? Well, the disciples weren't there, but what the disciples were, they were Cree from Garden Hill. And they're going off to fish. And it gets to be dusk, it's getting dark, and they know they're going to have to stop somewhere. So they get over to the edge of the lake and they pull their boat in. And right near the point where they're camping, there's a big evergreen tree. And it's swaying in the wind. But it's the nicest place to camp, so they decide to put their tent right beside this big tree. And they realized as they got into their bedrolls that night that the roots of the tree were rocking them in the storm. And they slept very well. So he says now, whenever they go by that point of land in their boat, they give thanks to the Creator for giving them that tree that cared for them in that storm on that night. Mantu kasuin migo. Kamini ko kakinawi gon kay sinoste panyan. The Creator God bless you and give you what you need to be in relationship. In the Naskama, we say, Mantu, I give thanks to Creator God for your presence on this land and for the planning team and all those who had a vision of this gathering. Egusi.
We can sing a sacred gift from God. Let's join the harmony.